welcome back to Twirl Around the World. I'm Lexi Duda, and this is the episode about our Big Ten featured twirlers. In part one, you already learned a little bit about them and their background and how they're all performing in the CBDNA Intercollegiate Marching Band virtual performance that'll be happening in January 2021. So don't forget to go over to Instagram and follow Intercollegiate MB for upcoming announcements on that. So let's dive into today's discussion. We're going to talk about school traditions. So Amanda, let's start us off.
Purdue is really known for their traditions, and we have a lot during game day, but I wanted to talk about one that's not always mentioned, and that's leading up to game day. So the day before game day, which is often on Fridays, we call it Gold Day. And Gold Day, we all get dressed up, we practice, it's like a dress rehearsal, but then on the way back, all the twirlers get suckers and candy, and the band has a dance party down throughout the whole campus, and we march during a normal season from our practice field up to our band hall, and we stop and do all of our cadences and different dance routines, lay on the ground in the streets, the tubas play their cadence, and we all say, oh my gosh, my feet hurt, and then we stand up and we start dancing again, go to the parking structure, bang on all the walls, and then end up dancing around the big drum, and it just really hypes all of us up for game day and gets me super excited, and that's one of my favorite memories and traditions.
So we actually have a lot of special traditions here in Iowa, but there's two really special ones to me that I want to mention. So one is something that everybody gets to do. After the first quarter on game days, all 70,000 fans turn around and face the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, which is right across the street from Kinnick Stadium, and we all wave to the kids that are up in the hospital. A lot of the kids are up on the 12th floor of the hospital, but there are also a lot of kids that are in their hospital beds throughout the whole hospital watching the game, and so all the fans turn and wave to the kids that are up there and just kind of acknowledge them and recognize all the struggles that they're going through and just showing that we support them in that way. So that's something special that everybody gets to do, but also one of my favorite traditions that just the drum major and I get to do is we get to go up to the 12th floor of the Children's Hospital during the third quarter of each home game. So we go up there and spend the entire quarter playing with the kids. I get to teach them a few baton twirling tricks, and Michael who's the drum major, gets to take a couple pictures with them and let them try on his drum major hat and hold his mace, and it's just really fun, and we've created a lot of special memories from doing that.
At Michigan State, we have a lot of traditions, and some of my favorites is performing the fight song in the series, which is our March to the Stadium, and this is really special because it was created by our first featured twirler, Beth Kaufman, and I'm very proud to be a part of her legacy. As well as last year, we celebrated our 150th anniversary of the SMB, and it was an amazing experience because for our alumni game, we had over 1,000 SMB alum come back with our 300-person marching band, and it was just a wonderful experience to be a part of. I've never seen a band that big, and we made quite the noise.
So it's honestly really hard for me to just pick one single tradition, and I think with everything going on in the world, it makes me realize how much these traditions mean to me, and how many special memories I've had from them. I guess I'd have to say my favorite tradition is definitely the pregame performance at Penn State. There's a lot of traditions just within it itself, and for me it's really exciting because you get your own little feature part and you get to hear your name announced in the stadium, but it's also can be very scary at first because we're all back in the tunnel waiting to march out onto the field, and even when we have our whiteout game, there's 100,000 fans in the stadium, but it's really awesome. And I think another part of it that's really great is the drum major does the flip, which is really exciting as well.
Along with traditions comes memories. So Maddie, how about you start us off about some of your favorite memories from the University of Maryland?
So I think we can probably all agree that there's nothing like stepping off for your first game, your first performance. Oh my gosh, that's my all-time favorite memory so far. It was not a good day for me. I mean, performance-wise, didn't do the greatest, but there was nothing like the rush of stepping off and performing for people who don't typically see baton. I mean, competing is so much different. Yeah, my first memory is definitely my first game.
So kind of the opposite of Maddie, my favorite memory was my last game that I ever performed at. And this memory is my favorite because it was the last time Shaylin and I got to twirl together on the field. And every time I tell this memory, I cry, so I'm not going to share it. So instead, I'll tell you a funny story. Our fourth game of the season, we were playing Notre Dame at a night game. And we were all so excited, and Shaylin and and I were gonna twirl fire before the game. We woke up that morning and we were like, oh, it's gonna be a little chilly, but it won't be too bad. So we just wore our summer uniforms, and at the moment we step on the field to practice, it downpours, and it doesn't stop downpouring the whole night. So we twirl fire through a torrential downpour. I've never experienced a hurricane, but if I had to guess, like, that would definitely be it. Like, wind, rain, horrible. And so we do everything that we normally do, and it's halftime, and somehow it starts raining harder, and we can't toss a baton in the air. It's just not even feasible at this point. And so I'm just running, and I get over to this wide open area, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a toss walkover. I can do a toss walkover in my sleep, like, this is fine. So I throw it up, I do a walkover, and I look up into the sky, and all I see is rain. Like, that's it, just rain. And I was like, there's no baton in the sky anymore. The baton hits the field, and I tell you, I have never heard the whole stadium just, oh no. I was like, this is tragic. So I just run away. And as much as that game was horrible, it was amazing to still look into the stadium and see 110,000 fans sitting through pouring rain that was cold and horrible weather, because everyone loves Michigan football.
My story is actually very similar. It was my freshman year. I was with one other twirler, the one who came before me. Her name is Nola. And it was raining so hard. There was a lightning delay at the beginning of the game. In the middle of pregame, we had to run off the field because everyone had to evacuate. And it was raining so hard. And for halftime, I was so nervous. I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to drop everything. And Nola was like, no, you're going to do this. It's going to be awesome. We're going to go and we're going to have fun. And we went out there, and of course we dropped everything because, like, it's so slippery, and, like, every toss just goes, like, 10 feet over. But it was really fun, and now, ever since then, I love rain games. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but, like, walking onto the field during the rain, it makes me feel so, like, powerful. Like, yeah, I can do it. I can get through.
Okay, so mine also, it involves rain. So my very first game day ever, I am not gonna lie, I felt really nauseous and I was terrified because I'd never been to a Husker game before. I remember, like, after march down, and then we walk into the stadium and we do, like, our chant with the band, and everyone's, like, all hyped up and so excited. And then I had to start on the opposite side of the field for pregame. And so the current twirler that was there with me, she was a senior, and she told me, like, oh, just, like, walk across the field. Like, you don't have to go around, like, in the stadium. Just walk straight across. They won't bother you. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll just walk across. I, like, get on the field, and I take 2 steps, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, I'd never seen so many people. So I just got super nervous super fast. And there was, like, a lot of thunder and lightning, but no rain. So I was like, it was actually kind of nice because it was, like, evening time, and it was kind of cloudy, so it wasn't, like, glary or gross. Like, it was actually, like, perfect lighting. We go to do pregame, and it's, like, right before they announce the 2 twirlers' names over the loudspeaker, there's, like, this really big, like, high note in the music, and then they announce our names. And so on the high note, we're supposed to do, like, some big trick on the 50. And so I, like, go to do my big trick, and I'm obviously have so much adrenaline. I'm so excited. And so I do, like, this huge toss, and I do a huge leap, and then I land and I roll my ankle. And then I catch it kind of, like, sideways, but I still caught it. But then they say, Kimberly Law, and I was like, I had to, like, awkwardly wave, and then I went back, and that was the very beginning. So I did the rest of pregame on a rolled ankle, but then I walked off, and then I started limping, and everyone was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. And so then I just went and sat in first aid for the rest of the game, and then thankfully it ended up getting canceled because of rain. So that was actually, like, kind of a blessing, because then I didn't miss my first halftime, because that was gonna be super disappointing.
So my mom is a veteran, and on Veterans Day we had this really grand performance. I'm sure a lot of bands do similar things. And when I stood at attention for the national anthem, I actually found her in the stadium, and she stood up because they asked all the veterans to stand up. And so it was just, like, a really proud moment for me, and I started crying. But it was just a really, really memorable experience. And I loved how, we got to honor the veterans, and the fact that I picked my mom out in a crowd, like a stadium full of people, was really cool.
So my favorite story from TWIRL at Rutgers was actually last year. The whole Rutgers University marching band got invited to perform at MetLife Stadium for an NFL halftime performance for a Giants game. And it was just a super amazing experience, and it was part of the performance was televised, so we got to see ourselves on TV during an NFL game, and me and my sister both got to perform together during such a big event, so that was just one of my favorite and most amazing times that I've had the opportunity to perform.
So since this is my first year, I've only had like one real performance, and it was the recording session for our what they would play at halftime at the home games, even though it was just cardboard cutouts sitting there and the football players. But anyways, so you know how sometimes when you text people online and then you meet them in person, it's like there's like a kind of awkward stage. And so I had only met the Marching Illini through social media, and this was the first time that I was really going to see a lot of them. And when I walked in, it was in Memorial Stadium, and we walked through this big tunnel, and I came in by myself, and I saw everyone sort of rush towards me, and we all had to stop each other from hugging because COVID and everything. But they just made me feel so welcome, that there wasn't any awkwardness, and we were all able to talk to each other, and I just felt so much like a part of the band. And then also later in the recording, when I was warming up, they were all behind me, so I couldn't see any of them. And when I was warming up, I would do a high toss, and they would go and when I caught it, they'd be and then everyone went crazy, and it was just, I don't know, it was so fun and such a memorable time.
The band is definitely always your biggest cheering section. They will do anything to hype you up. I think all of us can relate to that. I'm so happy that we could bring you guys together so everybody else could get to see how unique each one of your schools are. So thank you so much for joining me again. To keep up with the rest of this series, make sure you subscribe to Style Plus Band on YouTube and follow styleplus_band and Twirl Around the World with Lexi on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget about your Big Ten featured twirlers as well. Make sure you give them a follow, as well as the Intercollegiate MB. So we will all see you next time. Bye.